Hi, I hope you're doing well. So we're going to have a look at the evidence of Greenland. We'll just let the numbers go up a little bit, hopefully. And we're going to see how this ties into... Hopefully I haven't got any mistakes in my document. See how it ties in with Donald Trump. See how it ties in with... the leader of Greenland and Iran, Benjamin Netanyahu. And I'm also, if we get a chance, we also need to look at NATO that I've done some research on. Hopefully the numbers will go up a little bit. 8 people. Not going to get many, are we? Because it's late. I'll do a little bit anyway. And okay, so towards the end of 2025 and in early 2025, articles emerged that Donald Trump was determined to take over Greenland. Here's one of the recent articles that I looked at. May have been updated. Loads up. Why does Trump want Greenland and what could it mean to NATO? For NATO and the EU. Let's have a quick look at this. It's 1 minute 18 long.
Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, you know, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't. I would like to make a deal, you know, the easy way. But if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Okay. So let's go into the research. Research shows that the leader of Greenland, it's not going to, who is Jens Fredrik Nielsen, born in 1991, politician and former badminton player. So you've already got the link to the sports industry, okay, which goes hand in hand with the entertainment industry and all of this, and you can see it all the way through the research. You'll have a weapons company connected right to a sports company, and the football companies are massively of this. And he served as the Prime Minister of Greenland only since this year. Okay, so they positioned him. This is deliberate, everybody. They're all working collaboratively together. Fact. He is the leader of the Democratic Party and formerly served as the Minister of Labour and Mineral Resources during the Kielsen cabinet of 2020 to 21. Nielsen is the first member of the Democratic Party to hold the office of Prime Minister. He has condemned US hybrid warfare against Greenland under the Trump administration and said that Trump will not get Greenland. In a joint press conference, Nielsen and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, which we'll come to a bit later, on the 13th of January 2026, said the US pressure campaign against Greenland is unacceptable and that Greenland is not under any circumstances for sale. Frederiksen said, "Our message is clear. Greenland is not for sale." Here's the research of Jens Fredrik Nielsen, sorry. I'm not going to go into too much of that because the Company's House records is what's important. Oh, spelling wrong. A Company's House shoes, quite relevant actually, should be shows. Nielsen, having been appointed to Fredrik Limited in 2018, as Gordon Bowden was exposing his evidence, the company dissolved in October 2019, 2 months before the COVID deception. Right, now this is this matches his records, okay? Fredrik Limited. Dissolved 2019 in October. Oh, okay. Another entry connects a Fredrik Nielsen with no date of birth, having been appointed to Fredrik Productions Limited. What does that make you think of? Entertainment. Okay, shows. Okay, a deception. It's the same company name, so we can assume it's going to be him. But it's no date of birth, so they've tried to remove it. This was incorporated in 2013, the year after CERN's claims. The Formations Company .com is shown on the incorporation document, making important connection immediate, and I'm going to show it to you, connections to other world leaders, including Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the leaders of Iran, Saudi Arabia, and I'm not too sure if Qatar, actually. I put Qatar, I know they're involved, but I'm not too sure if companies made simple links to them, but we're going to look at that. All connecting to the Flemings, who initiated my removal from Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited by Fleming Co Limited. So let's just go into this. So here's the other company. If we look on the filing history and notice the address, Armory Road, all right? They use Armory a lot. So I'll find this address, I'm sure, in other research moving forward in all of this, the exact same address to show that connection. On the filing history, incorporation document. He's the only person, I believe, on the incorporation document, this name, Fredrik Nielsen. Again, no date of birth, it looks like, even on the incorporation document. That's almost unheard of. This shows you they're trying to remove the identification of these people. Okay, it's got a date authorised, but unless it's further here. Oh, I do apologise. You have got one here. I do apologise. Now, you've got it as musician. Now, most of these politicians and leaders of the country are from the entertainment industry. Okay? But it hasn't got a date of birth on the people record for him. So, remember, we've got a productions company. It's him. Remember, you've got the company, the Garrick Foundation, or the Garrick Club, sorry, which was the world's oldest men-only club, gentlemen's club, with no women. It will undoubtedly link into the sex trade, incorporated in 1831, and its motto was the whole world is a stage. Emmanuel Macron, an acting history, entertainment history. Zelensky, an entertainment background industry. Okay. Ronald Reagan, probably all of them. It wouldn't surprise me. So that would suggest potentially a deception. Acting. Here we have the Formations Company.com Limited. And we're going to come to that later. Oh. 38 people. It's not enough people watching this. Another record for a Fredrik Nielsen connects to Paradox Companies Limited that was incorporated on the 3rd of November 2011, within days of Jimmy Savile's supposed death. Oh, let's go back. It also has the formationscompany.com on its incorporation document. Let's have a quick look at that. Another one. Same date of birth, 88. Paradox Productions. Incorporated literally days after Jimmy Savile's death. Watson Street, filing history, corporation. Remember, this is a separate record. They're not even putting it under the same record. It should be under all the same person's name. It's not. Watson Street, London. Be interesting, actually, do a search on this name. Conrad Slenner. Anyway, the Formations Company.com. Here's that person. No other companies, but I bet you. Just have a quick look. I haven't searched this. Let's have a quick look. Conrad Slen. Quite an unusual name. Selena. This is probably going to bring up some duplicates. Conrad, 1982. Oh, maybe not. Okay, no direct duplicates. Some lots of Conrad companies that could very well be related, but not a direct name on that. Okay. Now remember, we've got companies made simple. Fleming Co. Limited was incorporated in May 2017 after the Pizzagate scandal became exposed and Donald Trump was positioned. Now, that was created around the time we had loads of big events going on in the United Kingdom. We had the attacks in Manchester Arena. We had the terrorist incident in London Bridge, which I've researched. And we had the Grenfell Tower fire. Okay, this is the same year that Donald Trump becomes the 45th president. It's the same year that Louise Smith or Smythe becomes the new CEO of the company South System. Okay, the same year that Fleming Co. Limited, the same year that the Deagle report, a depopulation report, was released. Okay, to the public, unleaked, supposedly, possibly deliberate, bearing in mind everything that I've been saying tonight. It is actively proposing to be struck from the register as their collaborative plans against humanity are being exposed. The formationscompany.com is also shown on the incorporation document and connects to them all to the fraud and crimes against humanity, apparent crimes. The records show they have been trying to hide it since I approached Anthony Roberts of Expo Manor in 2022. And we'll look at that a bit later. So let's have a look at Fleming Co. Limited. Here's Fleming Co. Limited. Active proposal to strike it off. So they're saying they're going to get rid of it from the Companies House record. Notice it's got Fleming Avenue, Clydebank, Scotland. Incorporated, as I said, May 2017. On the incorporation document. Let's have a look here. Fleming Avenue. Gulzar Ahmed in Glasgow. We have the Formations Company. Different address, same company. This address is used throughout the fraud, Old Street. Formationscompany.com, okay? Right, we're going to come to the Formations Company a little bit later. A record for Frederick Fradholt Nielsen connects to Heathermore Studios Limited. That was incorporated on the 2nd of January 2026 as the publications regarding Greenland escalated. Zoe Robinson is on the incorporation document. Let's just go back. Let's have a look at the company. So another Frederick Nielsen, different date of birth though. Okay, but the same name. Remember, there's no verification of name. Appointed as this is all going on. The same year, the same day, in fact, that the British Taxpayers Association dissolves, that links to the United Nations and that connects to the research of Kim Jong-un of North Korea. All right, which then links into the research of the World Marshall Authority. In the People record, we have a Zoe Grace Robinson. A separate search for Zoe Robinson shows a record with the same name and no date of birth connected to Exposure Electronics Limited that was incorporated in October 1996. It has Howard Thomas and Eurolife company services on its incorporation document, making major connections to the fraud, CERN and my wife's family, as shown elsewhere in the document. This is just one. I haven't gone into all of the other Zoe Robinson. I'm going to find loads of stuff if I look into it. Now, this becomes important with how we move forward. Okay, here, 1996. Let's have a look at where's the purse? Zoe Robinson. Well, I think we're just showing it, but Zoe Robinson, there you go. No date of birth shown. Howard Thomas. over 7,000 companies. This name makes critical connections throughout the fraud. It links to CERN. Okay. You also have underground ice hole. Okay. Now this becomes relevant later, I think, in the research. I don't know if I've put it in the document yet, but it does become relevant. And what's the... Oh, sorry. Let me just go back in that. Look at the address. Tenant Recovery, Highfield Court Tollgate in Chandler's Ford, Eastleigh, Hampshire. That is an address that features throughout the fraud. It's an address that is used throughout the fraud. It's where Deborah Fleming, was an NHS chief executive. Look when it started in 2006, when I moved to Dorset. Look when it dissolved in July 2011 between the Christchurch earthquake and the death of Jimmy Savile. Now, there are some more connections from that later, but we'll come to that a bit later. So, Howard Thomas, remember, let's just show you the filing history, just so you can see these connections, because it becomes very relevant with what we're going to be looking at next, which in itself practically proves this is a deception. Howard Thomas, look, St. John Street, that address features links to the paedophile information exchange and the World Trade Center disaster. Variations of St. John Street in London. They use it all the time. Euro Life Company Services Limited. That has dissolved since being exposed. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Just seeing if there's anything else obvious that I've missed. Electronic engineer. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this company. What we're going to look at now. Euro Life Company Services Limited, okay? This evidence is just, it's blatantly obvious they're working together from this. Okay, you're going to see it as we go through. Look when it dissolved. So started in 1981, dissolved the month that I made the report of the fraud. In December 2022, this particular company. Look when it changed its name. Started in 1981, changed its name, 1989, when the World Wide Web was created for CERN. Can't remember what's on the incorporation document, so we'll have a quick look. Howard Thomas, there you go, yeah. Eurolife Assurance Services. What else have we got on here? These addresses feature throughout the fraud and variation from City Road. Let's have a quick look in here. That name's already been highlighted. Why is that highlighted? Andrew Simon Davis. So this is going to be linking in with something. York Place Company Services. Yep, part of the fraud. This is something I've looked at recently, according to this. Anyway, we'll come back to that. I'll focus on what I know. These names, again, David K. features throughout the fraud. Look, 571. But anyway, let's go forward because I want to show you as quickly as I can how important this all is. So it's dissolved. There's Euro Assurance, actually. 1969, when Charles became the Prince of Wales. Changed its name in 1991, when David Icke came out and said the world would be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis. And the same time that the relativistic heavy ion collider was being built in New York. Right, let's go back to the document. So, Mette Frederiksen had been the leader of Denmark since June 2019, the month before Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and leading into the COVID deception. Denmark has close ties with Greenland and is becoming involved in the supposed disputed takeover. We've already seen it in that article earlier. Here she is, born in 1977. Leader, according to this anyway. Youngest prime minister in Danish history. She was the second woman to hold the office, to hold either office, and is also the youngest prime minister to be born after. Sorry, she is the first prime minister to be born after Marguerite II's accession to the throne, and the first to serve under Frederick as well. This is now. I need to do a bit more. Again, this is just the time, everybody. It's so time consuming, all of this. Oh. A company South Search, though, shows that Metra Fredrickson was appointed to 21 Sussex Management Limited on the 16th of September 2011, just over a month before Jimmy Savile's supposed death. The company was incorporated in 1992 when the company's house records were becoming electronic and the Catholic Church became a legal entity. The company has Howard Thomas and Eurolife on its incorporation document. You go into it. We are 1992. Look, so she was actually appointed 16th of September 2011. So Jimmy Savile died not long after that, October the 31st. The company was incorporated, as I said, 1992. On its filing history, Howard Thomas, 16 St John Street. So that links her. Okay, we've confirmed straight to the records for the leader of Greenland that was appointed this year. 2025. William Andrew Joseph Tester connects this company to almost 6,500 companies, including Underground Ice Hole Limited that we've just seen, that was incorporated in 2006, and it dissolved in July 2011 between the Christchurch earthquake and Jimmy Savile's apparent death. It has an address of Eastleigh, Hampshire, and it has Howard Thomas and Eurolife on its incorporation document as well. That is the same company that we've connected them together. Okay, that's the important thing to understand in this fraud. Terence Patrick Mellis connects Underground Ice Hole Limited to 21 companies, including Fingertip Productions Limited, that is shown in the research of Roy Clark and the Millie Dowler phone hacking scandal that connects to multiple murders, including the Daniel Morgan death. Again. Okay? So this now links the leader of this to the Daniel Morgan death again, which we've already now linked into Jimmy Savile, into the World Marshal Authority, into the Rapid Response Team, into multiple areas, because we're going to look at the Daniel Morgan death in a bit more detail. It's very important that we look at it, but probably not tonight. So we've got Companies Made Simple. Where else is this? The Formations Company. Right, where else is this critical? Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to go. Is this the first record? look where it's right under. look who's there. Bannerman. Who we were talking about earlier. Let's just make sure. I want to go to the first Formations Company. There we go. Let's have a look at Bannerman a little bit. Trevor Meelam later joined Rapid Response Team with Laura Nina, but the group refused to use my evidence to assist them in unlawful evictions, despite it proving... assist them in unlawful evictions, despite it proving that the bailiffs were powerless. I later acquired information that Laura Nina, was using an alias name, was working for the Sicilian Mafia, and was feeding information about her supporters to police and Crime Commissioner Donna Jones of Hampshire and Isle of Wight Police. As previously mentioned, the police and crime commissioner linked quickly to Jimmy Savile and CERN as shown elsewhere in the document. Other members of the rapid response tried targeting me, with Mikey P, one of several names used, or at least three names I'm aware of, two names I'm aware of now, tried undermining my evidence by posting comments on videos, irrefutable evidence, and later made threats to steal my motorhome and van. And it was actually stolen, and it is stolen. Anyone that's had their vehicle taken from them, because they haven't had insurance or MOT, it becomes a theft because of this international fraud and the crimes against children and humanity as a result of that system they have. Prior to this, he had tried convincing me that Egyptian pharaoh bloodlines were behind the corrupt system. Now, that may be the case, but the fact that he was saying it, all right, in all of this deception that we have to consider that's not, and he was lying. I don't know for sure who's behind all of this, but we've definitely got links into multiple religious organisations, including the Church of England, including Christianity, which is obviously linking in with all of this and the Catholic Church, this and that, and the Catholic Church. Okay, he considered that this was a deliberate. I have to consider this was a deliberate distraction, spelling mistake, from the truth. Mikey appears to be a man of God, but does not appear to be to emanate the foundation of moral conscience in threatening to steal property from those who are trying to save children. With irrefutable evidence of the crime being behind the system, they refuse to expose and appeared to be part of it. Mikey P also appeared to publicise the cell towers are a threat. It has to be considered that they are trying to conceal the true connection between the collider technology and the cell towers. These threats from Mikey P were preceded by Bannerman, who films the events of the rapid response, trying to undermine me by secretly recording a phone call and focusing on a ring that I had acquired from my wife Lisa's late grandfather, Barry Windsor. They appeared to have colluded with members of Lisa's family to try to use this against me, because you couldn't even see the ring on my videos, all right? Nobody would have even noticed it. A search of company's house showed Rapid Response Limited, that was incorporated as Emergency Reactive Maintenance North Limited in November 2016, the same year as the ritual at CERN and the Pizzagate scandal, and it dissolved in 2023 as the exposure continues. It connects immediately to the fraud and quickly to Exborn Manor Freehold Limited by the formationscompany.com on its incorporation document, and has a company of Inquester Corporate Recovery of St John's Terrace on its registered address. Now, if it's still there, let's see if it's still here. Okay, Rapid Response Limited, Inquester, Insolvency, St John's Terrace, 11-15 New Road. 2023, dissolved. 2016 incorporated, which was August, September, October, November, 4 months after the ritual. Emergency reactive maintenance. What does that tell you? What does that sound like? Sounds like the rapid response teams, potentially. Linking in with all this, linking in with houses and properties. Look when they changed their name, December 2017. So as Donald Trump comes in after the Pizzagate scandal, they change it to Rapid Response Limited. Now, when did the rapid response teams actually start? I'm not too sure, but the timing is very likely going to be relevant. The formationscompany.com was incorporated in 2009, the same year that the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales was incorporated, and connects most areas of the fraud. And it is shown as being in the process of being struck from the register since being exposed, as well as the filing history showing that its registered address was changed at key times of the exposure in February 2022, November 2022, and January 2025. Let's go into this. Okay, active. They're striking it from the register. It was started in 2009, not long before the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. If we go into the filing history, let's look at all of these address changes. Look, as I'm exposing the fraud, address change 2025. Notice the legal zoom. Okay, change of details for legal zoom. We're going to come to that later, right? Because that becomes really important in the research of Iran. Later, we're going to look at that and how that ties in with Donald Trump. November changes its name. Okay, St. Thomas Street, I think, is a road used throughout the fraud. I can't remember. I think it's 21 Thomas Street, Bristol, but November 2022. So this is when a name change takes place. In fact, it's the day before the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. I think we're going to check that in a minute. This is not long after Elon Musk wore Baphomet to the Halloween party in wherever he went. And of course, this is 2 months after, almost to the day, September, October, November, almost 2 months to the day after the Queen died, supposedly. We have, again, another registered address change here. But earlier, a few days before, Vladimir Putin announces the special military operation against Ukraine. Now, I'm just going to have a look at this date change, because this is going to be interesting. The Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Okay, so it changed on the 10th. Yep. So that was the day afterwards they changed its name. This is all connected, by the way. I'm not just saying, this is all connected. The Rapid Responses team are all linking in with this, with these organisations. So let's just go back to, formations, company. Yeah, look at that. So the day before, they changed their name. Now, this is a really important company in all of this because it links to the Fleming Co. Limited company. Fleming Co. Limited. Now, if we go back to the document, what about Inquesta? We'll just have a quick... let's look at a little bit of this and then we'll move on to Iran and how it all links in with that. A search for Inquesta shows that Inquesta Limited was incorporated in December 2011. Remember, you got the Inquesta on the Rapid Response team, on the Rapid Response company, 2 months after Jimmy Savile's supposed death, and also has a registered address of St John's Terrace. It connects immediately to the fraud in the research by Tobias Elwood, the former MP, where Exbourne Manor is located, by Formations Direct Limited. Now, he is no longer an MP since all being exposed. Robert Charles Miller connects this company, the Inquesta Limited, to Whitefield Hebrew Congregation. So we now have a connection, a link in to Jerusalem in all of this, or to Israel. Was incorporated in 2024, and Clifford Ashley Kamen connects the company to 14 companies, including Manchester Masonic Centre and East Lancashire Masonic Hall Companies Limited, that was incorporated in 1914 and connects quickly to the research of Gerald McCann, Madeleine McCann's father, as shown elsewhere in the document. This exact same company. This makes an important and unlikely coincidental connections to what appears to be an infiltrated Judaism faith connecting to the Freemasons and the case of Madeleine McCann coming in from researching the Rapid Response companies that link straight to all of the world leaders. And now what they've done is expose themselves even more to this, because it now links in with the death of Daniel Morgan, and it's linking into this United Nations connections, all tying in now into this collaborative deception by all of these world leaders against all of humanity. So let's just have a quick look at Inquesta. So it was incorporated December 2011, which is 2 months after the death supposed of Jimmy Savile. Manchester. Stephen Wiseclass. Formations Direct, that links to the research, as was said, of the MP for where Exbourne Manor is. What else was I going to show you there? Oh, yeah. Robert Charles Miller. Hebrew congregation. Forensic accounting. Inquester group. So this Whitfield Hebrew congregation, let's have a quick look at this. Can't remember what's on its incorporation. So this obviously now links in to the potential falsified prophecies, or, you know, whatever it is they're planning in this, and how it links into the religious establishments and how that relates to me, potentially. And we have Manchester, Clifford Ashley Heyman on the incorporation document. Was it him that we go into in the people record? I can't remember. Yep, Clifford Ashley Heyman. People record. Oh, who's this? Is this one we've just come in from? Yeah. Now it makes sense, doesn't it, why they won't assist with the exposure. They are literally right amongst it all, aren't they? With all of this. And it's not just this. The connections in from Trevor Mealham, I mean, it's enough with that alone. Claret Business Advisors. Interesting. There you go. East Lancashire Masonic Hall. Manchester Masonic Centre. Claret, interesting. Normally refers to blood, doesn't it? Or can refer to blood, let's say. Claret. I'm not saying it does in this case. So I'm just going to show, I don't want to deviate too far from what we're going here, but connects quickly to the research of Gerald McCann. It was incorporated in 1914. East Lancashire Masonic Hall. I think we need to have a quick look at that, don't we? Lancashire. Lancashire Masonic. I can't remember how it links in with Gerald McCann, so it'd be interesting for me to see that. Oh, sugar. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, it's quite quickly as well. It's quite quick. It's over for them. I mean, Bannerman needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested by the people. Jewish Community Centre UK. Incorporated in 2004 and features many significantly important companies and names on its incorporation document, as well as Jordan's, a criminal company incorporated the year before the Church of Satan. I will list and explain the significance of some of these companies below. Okay, here's the incorporation document, the Jewish Community Centre. Incorporated 2004, dissolved after Donald Trump came in. Okay, now this company is really important in this. Notice the address, Finchley Road. Okay, Finchley Road, it's a slightly different number, but it will be part of the fraud to 788 to 790 Finchley Road. But the incorporation document is what is critical in this company for major connections to the international fraud. Okay, it links to Ghislaine Maxwell. You've got Jordan's, first of all, so it links straight to the main company in the fraud. Berwin Leighton Paisner is also shown in the incorporation document, tying in with this. Now this is, there's a lot of information on this document, so I'm going to try and keep it a little bit simple here. But you have a UK-US dual nationality person here, who is Bernard Joseph Balkin, and he links to the Charles Darwin Trust. So that immediately suggests there's an infiltration of the Jewish faith group in this, okay, because that is the theory of evolution which would disprove their own religion. Why would you have that connection? If you were genuinely believed in Judaism, why would you have anything, a legal and financial connection to the theory of evolution? Now, on the incorporation document for the Charles Darwin Trust is Farah and Co. That links immediately to Ghislaine Maxwell, okay, via her companies. Further down, you have, now from here, it's so major, the connections, you've got links to Richard Branson's mother, straight in from this document. So that links into the Virgin Foundation, okay? We have, just giving you some examples here. So you have royal links, okay? So all of these companies, you'll notice royal companies amongst them. I think they're here. There we go. The Princess Royal Trust for Carers features at key times in the research. The Royal Automobile Club Foundation. Morgan Brown. Other Jewish companies. RAC. Royal Automobile. Hampstead Theatre. Linked straight to the research of the Hampstead Child Abuse Inquiry. This is important. Dame Vivian Duffield. From the connection of her is the one that links almost immediately to the mother of Richard Branson and therefore the foundation. The Virgin Foundation. Now, she's the only person on this entire document that links to Switzerland. Not only Switzerland, but Geneva, where CERN is, where obviously not in Geneva, but where the World Economic Forum have their meetings. Dame Vivian, look at her company she's linked to. Eureka Companies, Royal Opera House, Covent Garden Limited. Now that address we keep seeing, 7175 linking into the United Nations, is in Covent Garden. They keep using that with, okay? The Royal Foundation Opera Companies, the opera companies link in massively to the Collider technology. All right, and into the Doomsday Cult and that technology. Parents and abducted children together. Let me go back anyway, because we could be hours just on this document, so I'm trying to streamline it a little bit. So we got, how do we get to the East Lancashire? Okay, one of the companies on there is McCann Erickson Advertising Limited that makes quick connections to the Madeline's Fund, No Stone Unturned. So let me just show you that on the incorporation document for the Jewish Community Centre. Interesting, notice the Apollo crossed out. Well, Apollo is one of, according to the research, Donald Trump's favourite thing that he has all over his properties. And it also links into, obviously, historical elements of things. Jewish Trust now, where is the, just want to find the Hamish, that's interesting, I need to research that Hamilton connection now because of the Thomas Hamilton. It could be linked in. Anyway, right, let me focus on what I'm looking at for. I'm getting distracted. Just quickly, the Royal Institution of Great Britain. It's here somewhere. Prison Reform Trust. Britain, Israel. Anne Frank Trust. McCann Erickson. McCann Erickson Advertising Limited, okay? Resigned. That is this person here. Alan Morgenthau, who also links to these companies. London Jewish Culture. Don't know what that says. ASCT Developments Limited. So remember, McCann Erickson Advertising Limited. McCann Erickson Advertising Limited was incorporated in 1978 and connects to the fraud immediately by its registered address of 135 Bishopsgate, London, and criminal company Slaughter and May is on its incorporation document. Notice the name Slaughter and May being the same month that Madeleine McCann went missing. Slaughter and May is widely connected to the fraud and football clubs and was incorporated in 1954, the same year that CERN was founded and the year after Queen Elizabeth was supposed to say not incorporated. Oh my goodness, gone out of my mind. I'm definitely getting tired. Coronated, and the MK Ultra program began. McCann Erickson Advertising Limited. Let's look into it here. See if it's still there. They haven't got rid of it yet. It's still there. Okay, incorporated in 1978. McCann Erickson. Look, only had its name for not very long at all, a few months. We look on its filing history. Slaughter and May. There's Slaughter and May. See if there's... So Slaughter and May. If we go to Slaughter and May, you'll see 1954. And you'll see it's a criminal company, which means this is also a criminal company. I can't remember if it's the and symbol or... No, there it is. 1954, the same year that CERN was founded, the year after the Queen became... Notice the year changes are the same as the years on that company as well. So that shows you how important that is. 1954 to 1978. Changed its name. Look, last time, same month that Julian Assange was arrested. April 2019. Not since. On the filing history. So there's no other company names. Let me just confirm this for you. Look. It says Trusa Data Properties Limited from 1954 to 1978. We look on the filing history. You'll see a completely different name. AUI Holdings Limited. Right, it's a criminal organisation. Slaughter and May on the name at the bottom. And you can see it says, insert the name of the company, AUI Holdings Limited. Yeah, interesting. Look, the same 1978. Well, that changed its name also in 1978. So that tells you how important this is likely going to be. Oh, Louise Bean is in the people record of McCann Erickson Advertising Limited and connects to several Octagon companies, only previously seen in the research of Lucy Letby case and the research of the former head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, which is also close to the other McCann companies. But we've also now seen it in more recent research as well that I've been doing in the last few days. Louise Bean also connects to Jack Morton Europe Limited of a registered address of Evergreen House, and Peter Devonald Berners Price, interesting, very similar, Berners Lee, isn't it? Not all similar, bit similar, of the company connects to Ingenious Film Partners 2 LLP, the company linking most areas of the fraud and being on page 40 of the incorporation document of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Let's go into it. Octagon, event marketing. Octagon, marketing services. Movie and media. Octagon movie and media. Octagon sponsorship. Quite a few of them. McCann Erickson UK Group. We're actually going to see a link, okay, into Gerald McCann in a minute, hopefully. Jack Morton Europe. Square Mile Holdings. Interesting. Tavistock Advertising. Jack Morton Europe. Now, this is just one way I've found it, but there will be more if I go into all the companies. Peter Devonald Burners. The Art of British Song. Ingenious Film Partners 2. Okay. But also Cure Parkinson's, we're just looking at. So just to confirm here, I went past it quite quick. Ingenious Film Partners 2 is shown on page 40 of the incorporation document of the... Just having a look what else we've got here. Spectrum companies, which are very likely going to link in with this. Louise Bean also connects to McCann Medical Consulting Limited. That was incorporated in February 1991, the same month the Gulf War ended. One of the directors is recorded as Harry III, or Harry III, William. That connects to 81 companies. Now we know we can, you know, bearing in mind what I've found about Prince Harry as well. Is that a chart? Is that a coincidence? You've got Harry III and William there. You tell me. So let's connect to McCann Medical Consulting Limited. Don't know if I've gone past that actually. No, no. Well, there's loads of McCann companies. McCann Erickson Healthcare. Oh, wow. I went past that number. Might have changed its name. Is it? McCann Erickson Advertising Limited. Was that it? No. McCann Medical Consulting Limited. Okay, McCann Medical Consulting Limited. Interesting. Fisher Partners. William Road. Different names. Publishing initiatives. We go into the People Record. Harry III William. Appointed March 2007, 2 months before Madeleine McCann went missing, 20th. What are we looking for now? 81 companies, including IX Marketing Limited. That makes an immediate close connection to the research of Sandy Bohin, one of the doctors involved in prosecuting Lucy Letby, as shown elsewhere in the document. Edward McKnight connects McCann Medical Consulting to Nishi Limited. So Edward McKnight connects the medical company. So go back. Edward McKnight. Edward McKnight. Nishi Limited. Okay, remember Nishi Limited because that features in the research of Gerald McCann. Where is it? Nishi Limited is shown as the registered address for the Society of Magnetic Resonance. That was incorporated in January 2005, and Madeleine McCann's father, Gerald McCann, is shown as a former director. Here it is. Nishi Limited. People record. Gerald McCann from 2008, the year after Madeleine McCann went missing and dissolved on the 12th of March 2014. Okay, so we've got that link from coming in from them. Now let's have a look at, so we now know how quickly this is all linking in. This explains why the rapid response are doing what they're doing and why Bannerman is doing. They need to be arrested by the people, everybody. All right, these people, rapid response, they're massively implicated in this quite clearly. If we go into what we're going to look for, the formations company. Do not believe a thing the rapid response team, Bannerman, or anyone else affiliated to them is saying. But that is my advice to you all. And they need to be arrested. Now, if we go... Okay, so this is from the research of Julian Assange, which is not surprising. Because this is a formations company, but remember, you've got the link to the Fleming Co. And what we're going to look at in a minute is the research surrounding the formations company and how important that also becomes in this. Wendy Ling Goldsworthy also connects the Charles Worthy. This is elsewhere in the research. Bearing in mind, you've got another Pembroke Haven Yacht Club tall ships. This is coming in from the research of Julian Assange, as I said. Charles Worthy Consultancy Limited, Prince Charles, potentially. Charlotte Francis Goldworthy connects the company Charlesworthy Limited that has formationscompany.com, makes the link to Fleming Co Limited. Elsewhere in the document, where's this coming in from? Obama. So we now link, hold on, let me just, comes from. Yeah, so Jubilee Empowerment and Transformment Limited to Sandwell Superstars Football Club Limited. It was incorporated and connects immediately to the fraud, Fleming Co Limited, and the research of world leaders by Formations Company on its incorporation documents. This is coming in from, we've got Barack Obama. Barack Obama also connects into Ingenious Film Partners too from this. I'm not going to read all of the Barack Obama stuff, but it's obvious that he's linking into it. So we come in from Barack Obama Limited to Christian Courier Limited. It was incorporated in November 2012, the year that CERN discovered the God particle, and it has for business on its incorporation document. This connects to the research of the mayor of New York at the time of the World Trade Center disaster and where the relativistic heavy ion collider was first activated the year before. This supports the growing evidence of an infiltration of Christianity as part of the agenda and how that links in with the World Trade Center disaster and the collider technology. Obama enacted the Affordable Care Act of 2010, leading to Obamacare. The act was the biggest reform to the US healthcare system since 1965, the year that the main company in the fraud, Jordans and Sons Limited, was incorporated. A company South Search shows that Obamacare Limited was incorporated in January 2020, the month after the supposed outbreak, and when Harry obviously went to America and it dissolved in March 2022 as I was making the inquiries at Exbourne Manor. I'll just show you that quickly. Obamacare Limited. Dissolved March 2022 as Deborah Fleming retires from the NHS. Incorporated 27th of January 2020. Arison Kaguda is shown in the people record for Obamacare Limited, and it connects to 3 companies, including New Covenant Apostolic Ministries, Inc., making further apparent connections to religious organizations and the possible falsified apocalypse agenda. A separate search for Arison Kagunda shows an exact duplicate record connecting to Eagles Recruitment, and this is where we have the connection now. Okay. This person connects Eagles Recruitment and Healthcare Limited to 30 companies, including Revival Missions, Jubilee Empowerment, and Transformation Jet Limited, that was incorporated in 2008 and dissolved in 2016. Has an address of 24. Oh yeah, forgot about this. Wow, this is really important. Oh, itchy head. So I'm going to show you this because this does become very important. So on this document, this now links with very close connections to my family. Obamacare. Arison Kagunda. Apostolic Ministries. Dissolved in 2014. Eagles Healthcare. Bear with, my brain's gone. So Aristogunda, remember this is the name. Kaguda. Separate name search. Oh. There we go. And Arison Kaguda. And we want the connection to Eagles Recruitment and Healthcare. There it is, straight first one. That's good. Eagles Recruitment. We already had an Eagles company linked to the duplicate record. Oh. Sugar. And then we want Happy Son. That's not a coincidence, is it? Tawanda Happy Son Mudavana, who? That's made up. That's got to be a reason they've done that. Reverend, there's a Reverend there as well. Where is it? Hold on. It looks as though it's... Hold on, something's gone wrong here. Tepu Admire. Reverend... Oh, there it is, sorry. Medway City Estates Limited. Do you remember the company I told you that my family all worked at, linking in with CERN? It was on Medway City Estate. And there you have Medway City Estates Limited in Chatham, which is where I was born. Coming in from Obamacare almost immediately, everybody. Okay, now we want Jubilee Empowerment and Transformation Limited. I need to mention it. I haven't even mentioned the I need to put that in the document. Oh, my back. So we go into there and we want Revival Missions. So that estate there is where my mum worked. Now, I don't even need to go any further because I've got them here. Look at these addresses. Milner Road, Gillingham. That's right near my mum. We had my school links to a Gillingham Masonic Hall, which links to the Knights Templar, which is right there where this is. It's not a coincidence, everybody. This is impossible. Look at this. You've got Innovation Centre, Medway. That's all around where I was born. Milner Road. And this actual company is literally the estate where the CBS company was that I mentioned earlier. Medway City Estates Limited. 2017 incorporated after Donald Trump came in. Just going to have a quick look at some of these. Duplicate record for Happy Son. What's on the incorporation? I think I've already looked at this at some point, but I haven't noted it. I need to note that. All right. Anyway, we were getting to the formations company because it connects immediately to the fraud by first-class company services. Energy Kubu connects Revival Missions Jubilee Empowerment Limited to Sandwell Superstars Football Club that was incorporated in 2016 and connects immediately to the fraud. Flamenco Limited. So that has the formations company on it. Okay, linking right to my family, or around where I lived, and where this company is. Right, let's keep going forward. Hopefully, we're going to see the connections in all of this. Oh my goodness. This is so important, everybody. So the research of Apple. How many people have we got in here? 68. My contact mentioned the Apple having a bite out of it. Let me just go back. Oh my goodness, this is all so important. The research of the relativistic heavy ion collider mentions Lamore precession, which appears to possibly relate to the tilt of the Earth. The relativistic heavy ion collider is the collider in New York. The EIC research suggests there was a previous collider in Germany that was called Hera that had been operating from 1992, the same year that the company's house was electronic, until it stopped operating in 2007. The same year, I purchased a property at Exbourne Manor and when Madeleine McCann went missing. The following year, the Large Hadron Collider was started for the first time. On the night of the 9th of November 2025, I had an unusual dream that showed the world's north and south poles almost concaving, as if they were being drawn into the center of the Earth. This was so unusual and vivid that I decided to speak with one of my contacts who believes the Earth is flat, and explained how this may relate to the colliders and how the Earth may look flat when looking from above or below if it was concaved in those areas. Now here's an image. When you type in the torus field, this is practically what my dream showed. Okay, a dent in the top of the Earth and a dent in the bottom of the Earth. This shows the torus field energy, okay, which links to the magnetic fields of the Earth. Well, what does it look like? It looks like an apple. Okay, it looks like an apple. The contact mentioned the torus field, and research shows that it is both spiritual and physical, has both spiritual and physical references, with everything being surrounded by a donut-shaped force, including planets and even apples, leading to a concave at the top and bottom of the apple. It almost represents two sides of a black hole, which may become relevant. Now, when you look at it, it almost looks like, okay, a vortex into a black hole. What does it look like they're trying to do with the collider technology? Create a black hole, according to all of the research. The contact mentioned the torus field, and research shows that it has both spiritual and physical references, with everything being surrounded by a donut-shaped force. As I've said, I'm reading the same thing. Sorry, I'm getting tired. My contact mentioned the apple having a bite out of it in the famous logo, and that being a mockery to humanity and Adam and Eve. Apple, the company, began in 1976, having a complex logo with Isaac Newton sat under the apple tree, and it representing gravitational pull. The logo was changed in early 1977, having no bite, and then changed to having a bite later that year. I was born in October that year. A company called Newton's Apple features at a critical time in the research of Ghislaine Maxwell and Christchurch earthquake, with a science and technology company. Also having been incorporated in 1977 and having been dissolved in December 2022 when I first made my report of the fraud as shown elsewhere in the document. This is just research on the torus field. Exploring the torus field. And it says, just very quick now, this is from, interestingly, December 24. Was this all set up deliberately for me? Because they know who me. Now, the person that provided the information to me has now turned on me about my ring. This is the person that provided a link to me to get this information. They've now also turned on me because of my ring. The same as the rapid response team. So this article was 2024. Sacred geometry has long been revered as the language of the universe, a lens through which we can glimpse the divine patterns of creation. Among its many captivating forms, the torus stands out as a shape of infinite wonder, symbolizing the dynamic flow of energy and the balance of opposites, and the interconnectedness of all things. For centuries, philosophers, scientists and artists alike have been transfixed by its profound simplicity and elegance. A search specifically for the Apple company, reveals Apple UK Limited, that was incorporated as Apple Computer UK Limited in 1981 before its name was changed in 2007, the year of Madeleine McCann's disappearance and my introduction to my wife and Exbourne Manor. It connects immediately to the fraud and the vaccines by Linklaters and Paynes on its incorporation document. It was Apple UK, 1981. Year changes. Apple Computer UK, 1981, changed it January 2007. At no other time did it change its name. On its filing history, incorporation document, Linklaters and Paynes connects directly to the vaccines, both AstraZeneca and Pfizer, I believe, from the research. Now, I haven't the down on this document, but I'm now thinking I should. California. We have a link to California. That's where the first Walt Disney resort opened. Probably going to see something very important now on this. Thomas Lawrence, London. California. Albert. Almost Einstein look. Eisenstadt. Very similar to Einstein. Well, it's not, but you can where I'm coming with that. Bearing in mind what we're talking about with the gravity here. And Einstein was involved in the creation of the doomsday clock. A lot of people know that. I'm just trying to see if anything jumps out at me. So we've got other companies, Data Efficiency Limited, Microsense Computers, something that's crossed out, Data Efficiency Limited, Microsense Computers, Stephen James Brewer. Okay, no, nothing really massive there. Apple was originally founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, having partnered in 1971, the same year as the World Economic Forum began. Jobs passed away after the Christchurch earthquake and just over 3 weeks before Jimmy Savile apparently died. The research shows Jobs was also on a board of the Walt Disney Foundation. Bearing in mind what I've just actually said about Walt Disney, haven't I? The first Walt Disney resort opened in 1955 in California. I've just mentioned it. That actually ties in with other key areas of the fraud. And this makes important connections to the Flemings, Hitler, and the MK Ultra program, which then links back into my family via the research. Wozniak is still listed as an employee of Apple and receives an income. There are few results for Steve Jobs. A search for Steve Wozniak reveals Wozniak Limited, that was incorporated in 2015 and dissolved in April 2022. As I was making early inquiries at Exmoor Manor, it links immediately to the fraud by the formationscompany.com on its incorporation document that links to Fleming.co.limited. The formationscompany.com. Oh, what's happened there? I'm going to do that. And it was, I don't know if I showed you on here. Let me just show you that. Dissolved as I was exposing the fraud. Now, I haven't specifically, have I gone into, I've got another Chilcombe Haulage. Don't think I've gone into this. Chilcombe haulage companies, freight, transport by road. These are normally going to be quite important in this. Yeah, look, this is going to lead somewhere. 1,280 companies, haulage companies. Oh, look. Movement of anything, but could be something sinister. May not be something sinister. What's in the other directors? I haven't looked in here. Baker Properties North. Nathaniel, nothing. One company. ACC Haulage. Nothing. Terrans do. 7,000 companies over. AS Hampstead Haulage. Teamwork. Haulage companies. Loads of them. Okay, so a lot of companies to go through. Let's have a look at this one at the moment. No. X3. No. Okay. Can look at that later. Okay, now let's go to the next formations company. Okay, so Saudi Arabia. In May 2025, as the exposure of the criminal system continued, Donald Trump attended Saudi Arabia for the Saudi-US Investment Forum. Saudi Arabia's leader, Mohammed bin Salman, that was there. This was the first time that the Siemens company changed its name for the first time since 1962. It's the same month, after I'd exposed its connection to Jeffrey Epstein. As is the case for CERN and F logo, there appears to be 3 6s twisted into the emblem for the forum. Where's the images? They should be there. That's annoying. I'm going to show you this quickly. You'll see how Saudi Arabia investment. You'll see it's how similar it is to CERN. Copy. I did have them in the image. I don't know if that's possibly something else they've taken out, because that was definitely there the other day. I know that because I actually Checked it. So there's the logo for the Saudi US investment. Okay, so you imagine the 6 circular bit is in the middle, and then you've got the 3, certainly in the 3 sections there, 6 is twisting round into it. Okay, now look at the CERN logo. Okay, 3 6s twisted round into the logo. And then if you look at the World Economic Forum logo, this is a little bit harder to see, but it's there. And I've actually seen a video explaining it. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you can see it goes through the 3 O's. Okay, when you separate that out, it's 3 6s. You can imagine the circle becomes the tail of the 6. Okay, going through those 3 O's. And there's more. There's a lot more. Another one I'll just show you just quickly whilst I'm thinking about it. I mean, you would have. I'm sure most of you would have seen this anyway. Stagecoach, which I've now linked in to. Is it the Dunblane? It's coming in. It's in my document anyway. Stagecoach. Look at that. Almost the same. Okay, and the CEO, as I was exposing my fraud, was investigated for child trafficking for that company. And then if you look at, is it the Google logo? Is that the same? Can't remember if it's the Google one. No, is it Chrome? Google. They've all got symbols in them, but yeah, there you go. Another one. 3 6s. Again. So let's go back to this anyway, because so we've already, remember what we're trying to do is show the connection to all the world leaders in all of this. And it's really annoying. I had the logos there. Anyway. Okay, so Mohammed Salman, when you try and research him, a company's house search reveals he's connected, or this record is connected to 3 companies, including Pro Estate Management Limited, that was incorporated in September 2020, and it dissolved in February 2022, a few days before the special military operation by Vladimir Putin was announced. As I was making the early inquiries at Expo Manor, just show you this quickly. Pro Estate Management. Incorporated 2020, so just over less than a year before the outbreak, dissolved in February 2022. For Salman connects to FP Management. That's what I was looking at. That's where we came in. We saw that earlier. Jimmy Savile. FP Management Limited, that was incorporated in August 2020, connect immediately to the fraud with companies made simple on its incorporation document. Right, let's go into that. FP Management, we saw that earlier this evening. Oh. We should be able to see exactly where I saw it. Oh, is that loading up? Yeah. FP Management, Tooting, London. We saw that. Right, let me type it in, FP Management. Because what they're doing is they're creating duplicate companies as well with slightly different. FP Management. So that's the one we've just been looking at then, isn't it? Is that the one we've just been looking at? Yeah. Okay, so FP Management, different one. Dissolved 2020. Let's look at this one. People record, no. John Harris, interesting. John Harris, look. And that's the same date of birth as the research of John Harris. No way. What else is in this bit? So I have to, I'm not saying it definitely is, but this is possibly the John Harris that was talking about Companies House, but not the fraud. And I'm just trying to establish what else is in here. But I think that's the same date of birth as the other record that I found for John. Anyway, I'll come back to that later. FP Management Limited. What's this one? I'm sure we saw this earlier, but there's no obvious sign. FP Management Solutions. Dissolved in December 2025. FP Management Systems Limited. No, it would be purple, wouldn't it? Okay, well, I'll come back. Right, let's get back to. So he also. So what were we saying with that? With both companies, the same record for Salomon connects to FP Management Limited. That was incorporated. Yeah, both companies connect immediately to the fraud, with companies made simple on the incorporation document. I won't worry about showing you. The same record for Salomon connects to Prudent Asset Management Limited. That was incorporated in 2014, and its name was changed in 2016 as the Pizzagate scandal becomes exposed. It has the formationscompany.com on its incorporation document. That connects to the Fleming Co. Limited and quickly to the research of Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Iran's leader. The filing history for Prudent Management Limited shows that Salomon ceased to be a person of significant control on the 11th of July 2022, 3 days after I approached Anthony Roberts of Exmoor Manor and 2 days before his resignation. Salmon had been appointed in February 2019 as COVID appeared to be being planned, and there are closely timed registered address changes shown. So let me just show you that. So Prudent Asset Management, filing history, July 2022, cessation of Mohammed Salman, okay, which is, now they've backdated it. Oh no, that is the 11th. I approached Anthony Roberts on the 8th of July. Now, not only are you going to see changes here of cesations, you're going to see it with the research of Iran, okay? And that is critical because Iran, we're being led to believe, are at risk of conflict with Donald Trump, but they're actually all connected, okay? So let me just go forward with the documents, with the research. Another search, probably should go into this, I don't know. Another search for a record for Mohammed bin Nawaf bin Abdul Saud that connects to King Fahd Academy. It was incorporated in 1987, and at the time of the research was in the process of liquidation. It links immediately to the fraud by its registered address of 30 Finsbury Square in London that is used throughout the fraud. Page 7 of the incorporation document shows Sheikh Nasser Almanac GCVO and Najar Multi CBA. Penelope Margaret Ralph connects King Fahd Academy to Gulf International Bank UK Limited, where the register states they were appointed before 1991, the year the Gulf War ended. Bank UK Limited was incorporated as Al Bank Al Saudi in 1975, 4 years after the World Economic Forum began. Carolyn Jane Aitchison connects Gulf International Bank UK to Girls' Day School Trust that was incorporated as Girl Public Day School Trust in 1972. It has a forged register with Girls Public Day School Limited on its incorporation document. Now, then makes critical connections to the research that I showed the other day in relation to CERN and loads of other really important bits, but we haven't got time to go into that because I really want to focus on the world collaboration in with the formations company side of things. But that will show that they're all linked into the CERN side of things. It proves that. Now, where is... Oh, let's load that up. Nose is cold. Now, why is it showing more of that? There should be more. Unless they've... Oh, let's load it. Might have spelt it wrong with Iran, so let's type in Iran, see what comes up. In 1965, de la Rue, the main currency producer, started printing banknotes with an Italian based in Switzerland and did this for the Central Bank of Iran. It's also relevant on how things are progressing in relation to Iran and what I suspect is a staged infiltrated escalation regarding immigration and the Muslim faith groups. I've done that. Lord Louis Mountbatten was the uncle of King Charles and had served in the Navy, where Ian Fleming had been influential. Mountbatten became the governor of the Isle of Wight in 1965, the same year that Jordan and Sons Limited, the most important company in the company house fraud, was incorporated, and the year an Italian started printing banknotes for the Bank of Iran from Switzerland. Hampshire and Isle of Wight has significant connections to the... I've obviously put something there to the fraud, that should say. And the first, or the Vatican, the first wireless communications mast erected by Marconi. Really frustrates me when I see mistakes that I've made. It really, really frustrates me. Hey ho. Let's go to the next Iran. At the moment, it's possible they've removed the evidence from the document, which would be one of the key things they would want gone, let's face it. It's the same year that Louis Smith became the CEO. Okay. Another entry is revealed on searching showing Mahmoud Khilsuri, that was born in 1917, the same year as the Balfour Declaration, that fomented Israel and involved the Rothschilds. No. I'm thinking they might have removed this. Tusi has Iranian roots, and that's the Mayor Tusi, who is Tommy Robinson's friend. Okay. Just in relation to the SWIFT international transaction system used in the international government fraud, in 2016, the same year as the apparent ritual at CERN and the Pizzagate scandal, most Iranian banks reconnected to SWIFT, and they refused to block Russia after its invasion of Ukraine in 2014 and 2022, before some Russian banks were eventually removed from the system. I suspect this was staged to try and maintain an illusion that they are not working collaboratively against the masses. I've got a feeling company had recently got a feeling that because I couldn't find the formations company, they may have removed it. But we'll see. The Iranian conflict deception. Okay, maybe it's in here. As most of us have seen, those controlling this criminal system are currently wanting the masses to believe that there is a risk of a nuclear escalation between Israel and Iran. I suspect this is to fit falsified biblical prophecies as they become desperate in relation to the exposure of the criminal system and the sinister real plans behind it. Here was Iran will consider diplomacy when aggression stops, Foreign Minister says. This was June 2025. Significant evidence now suggests that the decades-long perceived threat of nuclear war was always a collaborative deception to hide a larger infiltrated agenda, possibly involving the cell towers and collider technology. This is without doubt an international collaborative deception against the masses. With the vast level of deception, it has to be considered that a lot of what is being seen in the Middle East is falsified using artificial intelligence, special effects and actors. Some of it being shown by I'm not saying all of it is. Some of it being shown by the mainstream media is obviously AI. The criminal system has been completely centralized, and this includes all mainstream and social media companies being involved to conceal the truth. Evidence appears to link Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, almost immediately to the company's house fraud and to the same company of Fleming Co. Limited that was incorporated on the 5th of May 2017. This is via the formationcompany.com, or I might have put formations, that it was incorporated in 2009 and connects to LegalZoom, the fraud, and Hollywood via James Cameron. Now, James Cameron, I forgot about this. James Cameron is the producer for my favourite movie, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. All right, so this is now all coming back in and making sense with a lot of stuff as we go forward. So I forgot about this. So let's look at this. Hopefully this is all still here. This is via the Formations Company, as I've said. Links to James Cameron and Ingenious Film Partners, again, mentioned later. The Formations Company.com is proposing to strike from the register, and Fleming Co. Limited is now in liquidation as the exposure continues. 2009 and 2017 are key years in the fraud, and important changes were made around these companies in days of approaching Anthony Roberts in July 2022. Research suggests the Manchester Arena bombings occurred on the 22nd of May 2017, 17 days after Fleming Co. Limited was incorporated, and may be relevant. More on this later, and how it links with what appears to be staged attacks in Israel in 2023 as part of this fraud. Right, it's not there. I hope it's still here somewhere. Okay. Another deception appeared to be aimed at me was that there was an imminent threat of nuclear war due to missing nuclear weapons from 1980s that involved a company called Atlas Holdings Limited and David Cameron. I was directed to what appeared to be staged information that may supposedly lead to the end of the world. The research from this connected back into exactly the same companies in the fraud and the Flemings, prompting me to make a report to Scottish police. This was all followed with a private message to me from Anthony Roberts claiming and saying the end was nigh, after I felt that any threat had been averted. Everyone that had appeared supportive of me and had fed me this information then turned against me publicly, claiming I still worked for the corrupt police and was purposefully gathering information for them. Donald Trump appeared to have been instructed to support the threat of war, as demonstrated by the timing of this publicised rhetoric regarding a possible escalation with war, despite he and the leader of Iran being linked to the fraud and the same Fleming company. Linked to article of possible war with Iran. Trump to decide on US action in Israel-Iran conflict within 2 weeks, June 2025. US President Donald Trump to decide whether or not the US get directly involved in Iran-Israel conflict within the next 2 weeks, the White House has said. Now, I've also seen a video of him saying, and I can't remember if it was on mainstream, so it may not have been real, saying that the world's may end because of what's going on with. Now, this was with Iran. Now, this was all timed as this information was being given to me. So I actually believe it was all deliberate for me, to make me believe the world was going to end, because this was tying in with the timing of Julia Vandalt and this other person, okay, that was being led to me that links in with the Freemasons. And there was a connection I'd mentioned earlier. I can't remember what it is, but so let's go back to, I hope I've got this with the leader of Iran, because the evidence is, I've got it on screenshots. If not, I've secured the screenshots. So let's keep going and hope that it comes up. Okay, so we've got another formations company here. Just wondering if it's worth going into. No, I'm not going to worry about reading that bit. It is tying into it, but I want to find the more significant part if it's here. If not, as I've said, I do have the screenshot. It may be that I didn't put it in the document. It doesn't look like I have. Maybe I haven't got around to putting it in there. So let's go to the screenshot document. I'm just going to pause the video for a minute. Okay, so this is my document with the evidence saved. So you can see here, US in direct nuclear talks with Iran, Trump. The US and Iran are holding direct talks over a possible nuclear deal on Saturday, Donald Trump has said. Trump disclosed the talks after a White House meeting, and Israel's leader Benjamin Netanyahu has also previously raised the prospect of attacking Iran to stop it from acquiring nuclear weapons. The president did not provide further details about the talks, including how progressed they are or which officials have been involved. Iran has not publicly commented since Trump said direct contact has taken place between the two countries, which have not had formal diplomatic relations since 1980. Interesting. 1980 is the year that the Georgia Guidestones were erected, okay, which represented an upcoming man-made apocalypse. And then they were then removed, damaged and removed, according to the research, 3 days before I approached Anthony Roberts. Now, it's interesting, they've said no formal talks. So that doesn't mean they haven't been collaborating. They've just said no formal talks. In March, Trump sent a letter to Iran's leader via an intermediary from United Arab Emirates, setting out his willingness to negotiate. However, in 2016, Trump unilaterally pulled the US out of the deal, which he had been strongly for. Now, that's obviously the year that the Pizzagate scandal became exposed, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu. He's an Israeli politician who has served as the Prime Minister of Israel since 2022. He was positioned as the fraud became exposed. Having previously held the office from 1996 to 1999, the re-establishment of the Church of Satan, and from 2009, which is when the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales was incorporated. Born to secular Jewish parents, Netanyahu was raised in West Jerusalem and the United States. He returned to Israel in 1967, which is the year after the Church of Satan was founded. And it's when the important company, the London Law Agency, was incorporated on Companies House, the criminal company. In 1972, the year after the World Economic Forum, he returned to the United States again, after graduating from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which has now linked in to, where is it? That's just recently come up and been very critical in the evidence. And I think that's because of the death of somebody supposedly being shot there. I can't sort of without looking at that. Netanyahu made his closeness to Donald Trump a friend since the 1980s, central to his appeal from 2016. During Trump's first presidency, the US recognized Jerusalem as capital of Israel, Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and brokered the Arabian Accords normalization agreement between Israel and the Arab world. And then it goes into the talks. I'm not going to go into too much of that because it's the Companies House records, but it's important. But between 1956 and 1958, again from 1963, so his family lived in the United States. Well, 1958 is when Charles was initiated to become the Prince of Wales. Okay, and then 1963 is when JFK was assassinated. Well, we're led to believe he was assassinated, and it's when the first James Bond movie came out, which links to the Flemings. He was in the football club. Returned to Israel to enlist in the Israel Defense and the IDF. Now, I've already linked, obviously, the IDF company to the attacks, the situation on the 7th of October. That's not surprising. However, it links with the Spice Girls and other important stuff. He left to study in the United States, but returned again in 1973, as the SWIFT international transaction system started to be used and the World Trade Center was completed. So when you search Benjamin Netanyahu, it comes up with one name when you search Netanyahu, Adiv Netanyahu. Okay, same surname. Remember, there's no verification. Here that is Ali. Oh, it's interesting. The name changed. Look. Let me go back into it. Let me check that now. That's interesting, because sometimes when you click on things in the Company's House records, it changes the name. But I hadn't noticed that. I just presumed it was the same name. But that's different. Now, unless it's... Oh, I've got the screenshots mixed up. That's all it is. What an idiot. Sorry. I think. Yeah. Okay. Let me just check it anyway. I'm going to go into the Company's House records and just check. See if they've kept... okay, let's go. I don't know whether to keep doing this or not. I'll keep going for now, but... Oh. Yeah, so Adiv Netanyahu, Crown Cards. Okay, so there's his name at the top, Netanyahu. Remember, no verification, but they're using variations, and we're going to see, because where it connects is very important. Well, straight away, you've got Crown Cars, and the Crown reference is going to be very relevant in this. You've got nationality Israeli. If we go into it, incorporated at the end of 2012, so after CERN discovered the Higgs boson or God particle. And I can't remember if it's this one. The only person on the record. Look, so hold on. So we've got a different name on that's where I got that other name from. So let's see what's on this one. So we've got Hawatmi. Okay, so we've got the formationscompany.com linking straight to a Netanyahu name, the only name that comes up on the whole of the Company's House record. That's not going to be a coincidence. You have one record, one Netanyahu, and it goes straight to the formationscompany.com, which links to the Flemings.co limited. That is not going to be a coincidence. So let's see what where did the research go from there? Crown Cars, incorporated 2012. We've got that evidence. We've got the Fleming Co. Formations Company. Okay, so when you research the Formations Company, we saw this earlier. Incorporated 2009, active proposal to strike off. We've seen this. On its incorporation document, you have Margaret Cheed. And in its companies of significant control. Now, what we'll do, we'll look at this because this is going to become relevant. So, formationscompany.com. I know we had it on there earlier. Oh, that's not going to work. Formationscompany.com. So just show you within the people record, you have Margaret Cheed. And in the significant, I wonder if they've changed this now. You've still got LegalZoom UK Holdings. Okay, so now they became, look at the dates. This is so relevant. 7th of May, 2017. That's the same day that Fleming Co. Limited was incorporated. This other company, Formations Holdings Limited, see, they've changed it on the day of Fleming Co. Limited when it was incorporated, it looks like, or the day before. I can't remember. It was definitely one of those dates around early May. This is all going to be true, guys. Everything I'm showing you is the key. It's the key to change the world in all of this. Okay, so we have this change. Now, let's have a quick look where I went from there. When you search LegalZoom, it was forbidden. So let's have a little look again on LegalZoom Holdings. Let's just try LegalZoom, see what comes up on there. And that may have been a bad signal. I tried it repeatedly, but... So we have LegalZoom. LegalZoom's quite a lot of LegalZoom. And then when you research LegalZoom on there, let's have a look. LegalZoom UK Holdings. Is that the one that was on the... Yeah, LegalZoom UK Holdings Limited. Let's see if I can get into it now. UK Holdings Limited, incorporated 1st of June. There we go. We can get into it now. I've never been into this. So this is after. Hold on. Incorporated June 2017. But it's saying May 2017 there. So what it looks as though they've done... Hold on. LegalZoom UK Holdings Limited. Is that the exact same company? Oh, LTD. And this the full... No, that's LTD. Well, that's very suspicious, isn't it? Let me just go back, see if they've got it again. So what they've done, so that's why I couldn't get into it. So they removed it probably around that time because they knew they were being exposed. Okay, so that's what it looks like, because that's the only record for LegalZoom UK Holdings. But if it wasn't incorporated until after that date, then that can't. It's not them. Not them. Now, that's very interesting. You've also got these other LegalZoom companies. You can see when they dissolved it. 2024, incorporated in 2012. Again, important year. LegalZoom.com. Let's have a look. What? Sixth floor. Hartman. Overall nominee. Straight to the fraud. Look at that. Temple back. Temple key. Temple again. All relevant. Okay, where did we go? Let's have a quick look at the international LegalZoom, and then we'll show you the LegalZoom International Holdings. So look, they created this at the end of May. So Fleming Co Limited was created early May. They then brought this in end of May. Remember, the year after the Pizzagate scandal became exposed, Donald Trump's coming in position. They're making the links to international leaders as part of whatever it is their ultimate game is in all of this, which I think we're getting to the potential truth in this. Chief Executive Officer, Financial Officer, LegalZoom.com. So we've got a California address, so where the first Walt Disney Resort was. Not necessarily the same address, but see what else we've got in here. LegalZoom Holdings, Beaumont Abs, LegalZoom Conveyancing, Business Centre, formationscompany.com there, Pulse Global, okay, nothing else really there. This one's interesting. Changed its name. Look, when did it change it? Oh yeah, 2013. It was LegalZoom Limited. Straight to the fraud. Look at that. This address features to the World Trade Center disaster and to Madeleine McCann. Okay, so that links it straight to key areas of the fraud. Pedro de Cruz. There's going to be loads of duplicate records for that name. I'm not going to go too much in it, but because I wanted to. Oh, Da Cruz. Pedro de Cruz. Is that right? Da Cruz. What was his date of birth? November 84. Yeah, that's going to be the same person. They've tried to hide it with a slightly different date of birth. British Monomarks Limited, Old Gloucester Street. Cruise Technical Limited. Anyway, I won't go too much into that. I'll just focus with what we know. So let's go have a look at LegalZoom on the research. Just to show you the connection to Hollywood. Let's just go that way. Close it in. Oh, what's happened there? So LegalZoom, let's see if they've changed it. LegalZoom is an American legal technology and services company launched in 2001. I actually think this is going to be really critical in this. It's an online legal technology launched the same year as the World Trade Center disaster. Okay, it provides online legal services using an independent network of attorneys and the LegalZoom owned law firm LegalZoom Legal Services, as well as self-service technology and care specialists. Services include wills and living trusts, business compliance such as licenses and permits, copyright registrations and trademark. The company also offers attorney referrals and registered agent services. Its founders, I remember some of this, I think. Let's just have a quick look at this. Traditionally, LegalZoom was founded by Brian S. Lee. Brian Sung. Oh, wow. Hold on. Does that name link in with North Korea again? And there's definitely a Sung Lee. I think that links into the. It's definitely Sung Lee connects into the World Martial Authority research and the United Nations. But we'll keep going, and I might need to do a little bit more research surrounding this. Brian Sung Lee, born 1971, is a South Korean American entrepreneur who co-founded LegalZoom Shoe Dazzle. Dear, oh dear. Bearing in mind, we've got the Red Shoe Club in all of this. Lee was an attorney with Skadden Arps and former manager at Deloitte. Deloitte links into the international fraud. I saw it actually yesterday or the day before. In March 2001, Lee, along with Robert Shapiro and Edward R. Hartman, co-founded and launched LegalZoom, an online legal technology company. In May 2009, Lee, Kim Kardashian, Robert Shapiro, and MJN co-founded and launched ShoeDazzle.com, an online fashion subscription service. Lee, Jessica Alba, Christopher Cavigan, and Sean Kane co-founded The Honest Company, a consumer goods company. In 2022, Lee and Derek Jeter co-founded the Arena Club, which was described as a digital sports card collection. Now, Jessica Alba is where it links into some important information I found. So Jessica Alba, the actress, born in 1981, is an American actress and businesswoman. She rose to prominence at age 19 for portraying Max Guava, the lead character in the television series Dark Angel, over the time of the World Trade Center disaster. Dark Angel. So science fiction, drama, television, bearing in mind the name Dark Angel, linking into the Vatican and the falsified prophecies. Well, it was created by James Cameron. And James Cameron is the director for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, my favourite movie. Now, he also started or directed a lot of really great movies. Titanic's a big one. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Abyss, which was 1989, the year the World Wide Web was created for CERN. But importantly, the one I found is Avatar from 2009, because Avatar connects to Ingenious Film Partners. There you go. You can see it there. Ingenious Film Partners. And Ingenious Film Partners 2 LLP is shown on the incorporation document for the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Now, Avatar came out in 2009, which is the same year that the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales came out, was incorporated. And also, it's when the very important movie in this, Angels and Demons, came out. And Angels and Demons was about CERN and the Vatican. So you can see how this all becomes relevant in all of this, hopefully. So let's just go. What else did I find from this? Legal Zoom 2001. We mentioned this. So he links into South Korea. That name, I think I'm going to find a connection to Kim Jong-un again and the United Nations. We'll have a quick look, actually, in Brian Sung Lee in the company's house records now. It's all a lie. I mean, it's blatantly obvious we are living under a completely criminal, deceptive system. And it must change. It must change. We must have a transparent financial system. Which they are so desperate not to do, because they know it will expose all of them. They know it's the right thing. Was it Brian Sung Lee? It was, wasn't it? Brian Sung Lee. Okay, nothing coming up with Brian Sung Lee. Let me just make sure I didn't spell it wrong. Okay, Brian Lee. There's definitely Sung Lees in all of this, but obviously anything if I can't. Okay, let's go straight from Google. Oh, let's go straight. There's my boy. Galty sadly died last year. Brian Sung Lee. I had two dogs. One died last year in my arms, which couldn't have been any better, really. And then Rosie, obviously, it is theft because Rosie is half mine, and I've been completely taken away from having any child. I suspect she's not alive. I've got no confirmation she is. No, that doesn't mean that's going to be them. Going to be loads of Brian Lees. He could be one of them, but does the avocado? No, unless we see anything obvious, you're going to get it's going to be hard to Hydra stop. So let's go back to the document. And within this document, I hope I've got the Iran connection. If not, I've got the screenshot somewhere. So we've mentioned the link to Dark Angel, an Avatar, Genius Film. Oh, Margaret Cheed. Oh, yeah. So Margaret Cheed, the name on that document links to Halo Services Limited. The name to that company. Well, the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales has you can just see it, the Halo Trust at the bottom there on page 40. Can't confirm that's 100% connected, but it very likely is. I've got HR Halo Company as well linked in with this. Now, within the formationscompany.com, Craig John Holt, let's go into this actually. So the formationscompany.com. Now, bearing in mind, we've already got the link to the leader of Greenland, and we've got the link to the leader of Denmark, tying with the leader of Greenland, and that is a massive connection, because that Howard Thomas that makes that connection creates massive links into the international government fraud from huge areas. Okay. Now we can see we've got Craig Holt, Dun Wilco, various Dun Wilco companies. Okay, now this becomes critical because this links almost directly with Donald Trump within the formationscompany.com, which means we have a link to the leader of Greenland and Donald Trump. Far too to be a coincidence. So if you go into the Dun Wilco company, on its incorporated, you might actually, let's have a look at the previous names. No, it hasn't got one. So into the Formations Company, onto the incorporation document. You have DW Company Services Limited. See that at the top? Okay. Edinburgh, Scotland. DW Company Services Limited. Dundas and Wilson CS LLP. Okay. DW Company Services Limited. We go into DW Company Services Limited. DW, I don't know if it will come up without the dots. We'll try it. This also links to the Dunblane massacre. Is the incorporation date. These are all these are all appointments. Probably the best way. Let's go back, close that down. Donald Trump, Company's House. This explains why the rapid response, or those linked to them earlier on, were trying to get me to believe in Donald Trump. So they were basically sending all this information and trying to get me to support them, and ensuring that I tried to use the there we go, look. Okay, so that now creates an almost immediate connection to Donald Trump. Here's Donald Trump's International Golf Club Scotland Limited. Now, very quickly via this, you find the connections to Jimmy Savile and to Prince Andrew and to other members of the royal family. So that's now Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that's a record for him. We've linked the leader of. Now, I'll probably be able to link most leaders to the formationscompany.com. It looks as though that is what they've used, linking in with the Flemings in 2017 as Donald Trump came in to the international fraud. So let's go back to the document. Where were we? Now, within Fleming Co. Limited... Oh, no, it's gone. Oh, no, it's not that one, was it? It wasn't that one. It was... Oh, sugar. closed it down? No. There we go. So now we've done Donald Trump. And it won't just be this connection. And via Dun Wilco, which links to Donald Trump, you have the UK Smart Metering Group. Okay, that dissolved in October 2024. It was incorporated not long after CERN Limited. Linked straight into the fraud. Smart meter systems. You have 2 smart meter companies, at least. Donald Trump. Trump International Gulf Links. I've already done all of that. I hope the leader of Iran is on here. Scottish Equestrian Ulster Bank. We've got the. So coming in from, we've already mentioned the schools. Okay, we just mentioned the Girls' Day Out school company, or those girls' school companies, and that was coming in from the leader of Saudi Arabia, which makes critical connections throughout the document. We also now have from, hold on, where's this coming in? Coots. Okay, you now make a link to, is this coming in from Donald Trump? Yeah, so this is showing some of the research coming in from the directed energy threat, how it ties in with Jimmy Savile, and goes into connections from Trump. But I want to focus on this Iran at the moment. There's overwhelming evidence about Donald Trump in all of this. But coming in, you also hit the London Chamber of Commerce in relation to all of this, which is a criminal organisation, I believe. Queen Street. You got it linked to Waterloo's, which is, again, a company used throughout the fraud. King Charles's Thursday. Here we go. Iran. Yeah, here we go. So on the 12th of September 2022, Supreme Leader Al Khamenei's bellicose attitude towards the West throughout the 33-year rule, which has sometimes turned into obscenities, filled, and it changed because we had a one-day visit to Iran in 2004. The king supposedly went there, or when he was the prince. But this article came out 4 days after the Queen supposedly died. You can see the article here. Was this for my benefit? Okay, September the 12th, 2022, as I'm continuing to expose the fraud. With the death of Queen Elizabeth II on September the 8th, her 73-year-old son, Prince Charles, ascended the British throne to become King Charles III. In a previous article, remembering 7 decades of the Queen's encounters with Iran, we reviewed the contact between the Queen and Iranian leader down the decades. Less known, though, is that her son, Prince Charles, the only member of the royal family who has visited the country under the Islamic Republic, albeit only for a day. On February the 10th, 2004, on the eve of the 25th anniversary of the 1979 revolution, which is the year that the Georgia Guidestones were being designed to be erected the next year, and they represented an upcoming man-made apocalypse. For the first time, a member of the British royal family entered Iran. Prince Charles, now King Charles III, arrived in Tehran at dawn for a one-day visit. Was that where they discussed their plan? Okay, which is all coming to a head. NATO would have eventually started Ukraine. 19th of July 2022, Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has told Russia's President Vladimir Putin. So these, I'm just showing you that I can't read all of it from this screenshot, but you can see these are all coming out that as the fraud's being exposed. We have 19th of July 2022, which is not long after, that's 6 days after Anthony Roberts resigned. Now let's look at Ali Khamenei, who we're being led to believe are at risk of war with a lot of the world, or certainly America, etc., or Israel, is an American cleric and politician who has served as the second supreme leader of Iran since 1989, the year that the World Wide Web was created for CERN. Previously served as the third president of Iran from 1981 to 1989. He's considered the leader of the Shia Muslims and the Axis of Resistance. What is the Axis of Resistance? The Axis of Resistance is an informal coalition of Iranian-supported militant and political organizations across the Middle East, formed by Iran. It unites actors, notice that. Actors, interesting. Actors. The Axis of Resistance is an informal coalition of Iranian-supported militant and political organizations across the Middle East, formed by Iran. It unites actors. Is that them telling us? Committed to countering the influence of the United States and Israel in the region. It most noticeably includes Lebanese Hezbollah, Islamic resistance in Iraq, and popular mobilization forces and the Yemen Houthi movement. It sometimes includes Hamas, and which is obviously linked into the Israel attacks in 7th of October, and a variety of other Palestinian militant groups. Now, remember, the Albert Pike letter talks hugely about the Palestinian movement and how that ties in with Gaza to bring about the one world control and the light of Lucifer in all of this. The various, it doesn't say control in there, I'll just to make that, but it says to take over the world, according to the document I have, and a variety of other Palestinian militant groups. The various actions of members of the Axis reflect their domestic interests while serving the broader goal of complicating Israel's attacks and imposing a cost on the United States to support Israel. The United States designates most of these groups as terrorist organizations. Despite this, between 2014 and 2017, militant groups within the Axis under the command of Qasem Soleimani coordinated with US military forces against the Islamic State. Organizations including the war in Iraq from 2013 to 2017. So 2017 is the key year. It's the year after Pizzagate scandal became exposed and when Donald Trump came in. All deliberate, all staged. There was no democratic vote regarding Donald Trump until the fall. And I've linked the company that creates the machines that counts the votes into all of this fraud. There's been no democracy for a while until the fall of the Assad regime in 2024. Syria was the only state member of the Axis beside Iran hosting fighters trained and recruited by Iran. Shia Islam. Shia Islam is the second largest branch of Islam. It holds that Muhammad designated Al bin Abi Talib, forgive me for not being able to say this, as both his political successor and as a spiritual leader of the Muslim community in Rome. However, his right is understood to have been usurped by a number of Muhammad's companions as the meeting of Saqifa were appointed to Abu Bakr. Just having a quick read whether I hope I've got the I've actually got the research of. Yeah, I have. That's good. I'm just going to skip. Shall I read all of this? That's not, I'm not going to. This is when I was looking at just having a quick. Oh yeah, okay. So as I continued all of the exposure, and I was releasing all of the evidence, I had this information here about tying with Julian Assange, and from Hutchison 3G UK Limited, the company, it linked into D&D Law Agency again, which links to the research as we were looking at earlier, not only to Princess Diana's bodyguard, but to the research at Princess Diana and the research that we looked into, I think, coming in from Jimmy Savile, I believe. Well, this is the company where Brimstone featured in my, when I was thinking, well, what's this all about? And you know, what's fire and brimstone in the Bible in all of this? What's my role? What's my position? Really thinking about where I'm heading with this and putting everyone at risk. At this time, I didn't know my family's potential implications. And I turned to the next company, and there was the word brimstone in the address. And it was it was a company linked to Daniel John Dwyer and the D&D Law Agency. And it has, you can see in the middle there, 84 Temple Chambers, Temple Avenue, London. Well, that links into my the connection of my family and the dream I had about McDonald's, which then led to the information of an address that I went to with my father that then makes critical connections back in to this and led me to acquire more evidence surrounding McDonald's and the Red Shoe Society and all of this. Getting tired. And then suddenly, as I was trying to remember exactly what I was doing on this date, but you can see here, Deborah and John Fleming, or it was Deborah's mobile number, I was sending all of the evidence to them, even though they wasn't responding, and they suddenly, you can't see it quite clearly here, suddenly changed the timer on the 10th of March 2025. And that was unusual. So I then looked at so I'm just reading this to refresh my memory. I didn't plan on showing this. Trump talks about nuclear weapons. It will probably end the world. This was on social media. Trump warns this could lead to World War III. Donald Trump warns of an atomic Armageddon and says monster nuclear weapons could end the world, adding it would happen. So this was I think it was the same day as Deborah Fleming changing the timer on the WhatsApp group. So I was thinking, okay, something significant is going to be happening. There's actually another document about this, so I might just focus on that at some point. And then this was me researching on June the 8th. Why June the 8th is important, because that would have been my father's birthday. So and that all links in with George Orwell. Anyway, getting back to Iran, because I think this is more important at the moment. We can look at that later. There was an article from June 2024, Netanyahu, the third temple's location. Supposedly him talking about leading into the prophetic conclusion in all of this. So this is the month I'm starting to get the evidence in relation to the blood of the tortured children that I hadn't really publicized much at this point. And he's talking about to prepare Israel for the Messiah, as apparently Benjamin Netanyahu is starting to talk about the return of the Messiah in all of this. In 1967, all of Jerusalem was restored to under Jewish control for the first time since the antiquity, fulfilling the prophecy of Jesus in Act 1. However, as Israel was at a state of war for its very survival, there was no desire on behalf of politicians to consider rebuilding the Jewish temple. Immediately, sovereignty of the Temple Mount was handed to Jordan and to Jerusalem's Islamic Waqf. Now, this is bearing in mind Jordan and Sons is the main company in the fraud that was created 2 years earlier. Okay, so this is 1967, they're saying. 2 years earlier, the Company's House Records for Jordan and Sons Limited was created. The following year was the foundation of the Church of Satan and the football match between England and Germany. And Church of Satan was actually founded after a night in Germany, which then links into the Reformation and everything else I'm talking about. When they had come together, they asked him, saying, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom of Israel? And he said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons, which the Father has put in his own authority. Now, remember the information that potentially Jerusalem is really in Scotland in all of this. The Illuminati plan for World War III. The document was released from public view, taken from public view in 1977, the year I was born. Islam, the Muslimic Arab world, it talks about in there the Islamic world. It talks about mutually destroy each other. The state of Israel and Islam. The manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, creating the destruction of Christianity and atheism, bringing about the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Anyway, relax. This is long. Okay, the search for Ali Khamenei. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Ali. Searching that Company's House through Google revealed an entry for the same surname, different first name. This is what they did with Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, and look where it leads and what we find from it. Sarafi Melli London Limited. They were incorporated. Okay, appointed to that in 2013, the year after CERN claims to have discovered the God particle. It dissolved in December 2019, the same month as the outbreak. On the incorporation document, we have this name, and we have Princess Court, Queen's Way. Remember, linking in with the royal family, all of this does. And on there, we have the formationscompany.com. Okay, so same surname as the leader of Iran, same company linking to Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump, etc., etc. Immediately. But let's have a little look. So the outbreak, just to confirm, was in December 2019, according to this. The Earthshot Prize was created in 2019. Now, in that company, Sarafi, that name, we have some registered address changes, and I've screenshot it here. So you see you have two quite close together, one in May 2013 and one in November 2014. Nothing too suspicious about that alone. Then we have in 2015, on the 22nd, 3 address changes. 3 address changes on the same day of the registered address. Now, you could say, well, they're mistakes, but look at the differences in these addresses. From 700, let me just make sure of this. From 707 at the bottom there, the first one at the bottom, High Road, London, to Flat 2, 1 Rutland. Then from Flat 2, 1 Rutland. So they've got it, England. So the bottom one, it's from, they changed it to Flat 2, 1 Rutland Gate. Then they changed it from Flat 2, 1 Rutland Gate to Flat 2, Rutland Gate. This is weird, isn't it? I mean, it could be they're making some mistakes in it, but then we've got from flat 2, 1 Rutland Gate, London, to flat 2, 1 Rutland Gate. So those could be mistakes in their typing. We also have a change on the 5th of September where they change it to a completely different address. But this is important. So this person with this surname was appointed on the 24th of November 2017 to the company. Okay, around when was it incorporated? So it was incorporated in 2013. So they wasn't part of that company with the same surname until 2017. Then they put him on it. Well, that is when they're starting to merge world leaders to Fleming Co. Limited. That's when Donald Trump had been positioned. Okay, and all of this other stuff is going on. Remember, this is going back to the 13th century in all of this. From all of the research, that is what appears to be the case. So what does Sarafi mean? The name of that company, Sarafi Melli. Well, Sarafi Melli translates to National Currency Exchange or National Exchange Office in Persian. It relates to a type of business that provides foreign exchange services, like converting one currency to another. Quite interesting, bearing in mind what we're talking about with all of this. Now, that person also links the record. Have I shown the connection? If not, we can. I haven't shown it here, have I? Okay, I'll have to go into that. But from that record, I've got it secured somewhere. We have a link to Ali Pizza and Kebabs Limited that was proposing to strike off, okay, from get it shut down from the company, from company sales. Now, it was incorporated in 2018, and it has Checkpoint Logistics as its original name, okay, which very rich to go from logistics to pizza or to kebabs, whatever that was. Pizza and kebabs. Now, bearing in mind this is linked into the Pizzagate scandal, everybody, and the apparent crimes against children, which I pray is a deception, but all of the evidence says it's not. All of the evidence says we're talking about the most serious crimes imaginable against children in all of this. I hope that's not the case. Now, it was given the name in 2018, changed its name in 2021, but look at the date changes of the name. So the application to strike from the register was made on the day that I approached Anthony Roberts, the day that I had that conversation with him, which led to the triggering of all of this. Application to strike off. First Gazette notice for voluntary strike off, 19th of July 2022. And then they suspended it in August 2022, potentially because they were panicking. They didn't know what to do at that point, possibly. Now, I need to go back into these records because now I've done a lot more work. I will find possibly something else. And here, just to confirm you, this is the record of Exbourne Manor. And just to confirm that he resigned on the 13th of July, but I actually approached him on the 8th of July and held a little meeting with him and Diana Betts, okay, in to basically try and persuade them to let me see the bank documents. And here you can see, this is my statement that I've done, which I haven't publicized this statement, but this is a big statement. It's over 100,000 words. And this is just my statement saying that on Friday the 8th of July 2022, and I spoke with acting chairman of the board of directors Roberts outside of his flat. I explained that I thought it very important that we were able to see the actual bank documents, statements regarding the block, particularly with the expensive roofing project and Fenton, who's somebody linked to the organisation, suddenly disappearing. Roberts became defensive of Owens and Porter and appeared frustrated about me insisting on this, saying we should take them at face value. I found this very strange in the circumstances. I said something similar to Tony, there is a lot of money involved in the roof project. I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know this time we're talking trillions of pounds in relation to fraud. It's quite funny, isn't it, when you think about it? But at this particular date, you know, I was thinking, okay, maybe there's just a little bit of money missing from the account. Little did I know where it was going to lead at this point. Anyway, I'm not going to read all of that, but that's probably going to be publicised at some point, my entire statement. And then I held a meeting just to say here, I was so concerned about Robert's reaction that I arranged the meeting with Roberts and Diana Betts on Sunday the 10th of July. During the meeting, I repeatedly apologised to Roberts for whatever I'd done to upset him, although I did not fear that I had done anything wrong, because I hadn't, hoping that he would also apologise and give a reason for his outburst, but he didn't. I explained to them both that I felt we needed to look into the company accounts more, and that if they did not agree, I would have to go to the other directors to seek their views, and if necessary, vote on the matter. Eventually, Betts and Roberts both apparently reluctantly agreed for me to look at the accounts. And then on Wednesday, the 13th of July, I received an email saying that Anthony Roberts had resigned. Export Manor links to Owens and Porter. This obviously triggered my investigation, and Owens and Porter resigned on the 30th of September 2022, the same month that the Queen, so I believe they staged or faked the Queen's death on the 8th of September. They then resigned, and they're linked to the Russian government. Okay, Stephen Owens is linked to the Russian government. Deborah Fleming was then appointed, and I was removed. And you can see here, fond farewell to Deborah Fleming. Last week, 31st of March, we said a fond farewell and thanks to Chief Executive Debbie Fleming, OBE, who retired after 38 years. So she then became involved in Export Manor and initiated my removal. They were the two in the meeting. You can see, if you saw my video earlier, there's John on the left and Deborah Fleming on the right. There's a zoomed in picture so you can see them. Both of them need to be arrested. You know, whichever way you look at this, we've got a criminal organisation. I'm sorry to say it. I can't see any other way to resolve this. We need, you know, this criminal fraud network to be gone. We need it to be gone. Where was I going to go with that? So in the pizza company, we're looking at, we have Shah Ali, and Shah Ali links to Rasasi Kitchen Limited, where they resigned in December 2023. They were appointed in August 2017, which is around the time that all of this is going on with Donald Trump coming in. Here's Embassy Kitchen Limited. Active proposal to strike off at the time when I took this. Probably not even on the register anymore. Luckily, I've secured the evidence. Rapido Logistics. So we have a logistics company again, which you generally, it can be, or I think I've put what logistics is. No, I haven't. I might have done afterwards. Just so it shows the. It can be to do with transit of and conveyance of freight, etc. The movement of. I'm getting tired. You know what I mean. I'm probably not making any sense because I'm so tired, but I'm going to keep going. So we have this RASI, and then I'm going to have to do the World Health. I've got so much evidence I need to do. There's just so many things I need to talk about. So within there we have I need to show you the evidence of the Daniel Morgan murder, how that connects in now with the World Health Authority, the World Martial Authority. and into the United Nations. So this Rapid Logistics Limited, it only had that. It had that name from August 2017, changed it in 2021. And Rasasi means an archaic English word primarily used in the Middle English period to satisfy another's hunger with a great meal. Rasasi. And again, application to strike the company from the register the same day that I approached Anthony Roberts. And the termination of Shah Ali on the 12th of December 2023, which is the person that made the connection coming in from the leader of the research of the leader of Iran. Now, when you research Shah Ali, it says in Persian, and it also says Russian. And it says Shah Ali was, I'm getting really tired, was a Khan of the Khazim Khanate and the Khanate of Kazan. He ruled the Kazim Khanate for much of his life and 3 times tried to rule the Khanate of Kazan, which was independent until its conquest by Muscovy in 1552. Now, the Muscovy companies, I think I'll come to it in a minute. He also ruled the town of Kasimov as a vassal of the Russians. He was the son of the Kazim Khan Sikh Aliya and grandson of Bakhtar Sultan, the brother of Ahmad Khan bin Kuchuk, Golden Horde ruler, and lost control of Russia. The Golden Horde ruler who lost control of Russia. One of the wives was the unfortunate of something Kazan. He died childless in 1567 and was succeeded by St. Bulat. He is described as physically repulsive and too fat to be a soldier, but a man of sound judgment. He was a direct descendant of Joshkat Khan, the eldest son of Genghis Khan. Is this very relevant in all of this? If we have a link from potentially a record that they put there for the leader of Iran, and this potential, this creates a potential motive against Russia, according to this, if that Shah Ali is a name they've used for reference to this particular person, going back in history. Anyway. Where are we? I'm not making much sense, am I? But I'm just going to keep going. Could this be relevant in this? Like, really relevant? Now, the Iona prophecy, there's a link to the research to the New Muscovy company. Bearing in mind, this was linking to Muscovy, 1552. Now, this Iona prophecy talks about the end of the world. And I was being led to believe it was to do with missing nuclear weapons. Well, look at what we've just been seeing with the Charles visiting the leader of Iran for the only time in 2004. And now we have these connections coming in to a potential motive against Russia, but potentially against other elements in the world or other countries in the world. But we have this New Muscovy company. We also have a link into Ivan the Terrible from that research. Okay, within the New Muscovy company, it links to Ivan the Terrible, who was Grand Prince of Moscow and all of Russia from 1533 to 1547. This is in the 15th century, obviously, of the Reformation. And the first Tsar of the Grand of Russia from 1547 until his death in 1584. Ivan's reign was characterized by Russia's transformation from a medieval state to a fledgling empire, but at an immense cost to its people and long-term economy. And he was somebody that was appearing to be very linked in with the torture of people, like awful crimes against the people, according to that. The Muscovy Company, I got the incorporation document on the 25th of December. Why have I screenshotted that? Select items. Oh, it's to show that I'd actually secured screenshots in relation to Chris Wray, because Chris Wray connects to that same Muscovy Company. He was the former head of the FBI. And he was nominated by Donald Trump on June the 7th, 2017. Okay, which ties in with all of these movements taking place. And has served since August the 2nd, 2017. Well, you notice the dates in what we've just been looking at, very relevant. And he links to the Muscovy Company. Now, he was born in New York, and Ray graduated from Yale University in 1989, the year that the World Wide Web was created for CERN. Then attended Yale Law School. He joined government in 1997, which is when when Princess Diana died, and the same year that the founder of the Church of Satan died. He joined the government in 1997 as an assistant United States attorney for Northern District of Georgia. Well, Georgia is where the Guidestones were erected, which represent an upcoming man-made apocalypse. And they were then removed, as I've said, in 2022. Literally the day or 2 days before I approached Anthony Roberts. Ray served as Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Criminal Division, giving the manipulative control through law enforcement, which is all involved in this, I'm sorry to say, and this was in George W. Bush's administration. I've done the research surrounding George W. Bush, linking into the international government fraud. He later was a litigation partner with the law firm King and Spalding from 2005 until 2016, when the Pizzagate scandal became exposed. And it was then that President Donald Trump nominated him to replace James Comey as the head of the FBI. In 2003, President George W. Bush nominated Ray to be the 33rd Assistant Attorney General, linking him with the Freemasons, potentially symbolic, charge of the Criminal Division of the Justice Department. He was unanimously confirmed by the Senate on September the 11th. Same date as the World Trade Center disaster. From 2003 to 2000, in 2003, sorry. In early 2004, the Justice Department issued a finding that the Bush administration's warrantless domestic surveillance program under the Terrorist Surveillance Program, TSB, was unconstitutional. Ray joined King Spalding in 2005. Ray's firm also represents Russian energy giants Gazprom and Rosneft. FBI Director article banks $14 million from King and Spalding since 2016, since the Pizzagate scandal was exposed, and all of this that we're talking about with Donald Trump coming in. King and Spalding is an American multinational corporate law firm that is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's in Georgia, where the Georgia Guidestones were erected, with offices located in North America, Europe, and the Middle East and Asia. It hosts over 1,300 lawyers in 23 offices globally. It's also known as K&S and was founded on January. Now, K&S becomes relevant to... No, I won't go into that at the moment. Founded in 1885 by Alexander C. King and Jack Spalding of Atlanta, Georgia. The firm has additional offices in Austin, Charlotte, and various other locations. Abu Dhabi, Brussels, Dubai, Frankfurt, Paris, Geneva. The firm was represented various large companies and private equity funds. The firm advised Donald Trump's real estate empire, according to one report, which also cited the American Civil Liberties Union on the subject. Remember, the National Council for Civil Liberties, linking to the paedophile information exchange and the World Trade Center disaster. Further, the firm enjoys a rich revolving door of senior government officials who elect to rejoin firm partnership and premiership roles in the United States. In 2018, the firm, this is all, very worrying. What we're seeing with all of this, but in 2018, the firm filed a Foreign Agents Registration Act application notifying their work as an advisor to the Saudi Arabian organization King's Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy, which was created by King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud to pursue a nuclear program. So King's Spalding was involved in the nuclear program around this, and therefore the head of the FBI. King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy, it says, the King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy is a scientific research of government entity in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and is chaired by the Minister of Energy. It was founded in 2010, the same year that the CERN Limited was founded, and its mandate is to develop nuclear and renewable energy in Saudi Arabia. It is headquartered in Riyadh City. Its leadership has Abdulaziz bin Salman, who was from 2022, as the fraud became exposed. It works on proposing a national policy for nuclear and renewable energy and implementation of a strategic plan. It also establishes and manages projects to achieve its objectives, including using nuclear and renewable energy resources. Saudi Arabian economy. King Spalding links to JP Morgan. King Spalding and JP Morgan have a history of working together on various financial transactions, particularly in areas like banking and finance and restructuring. King and Spalding has represented JP Morgan in matters involving credit facilities and investment deals. They have also worked with JP Morgan on restructuring and bankruptcy matters, linking with healthcare as well. And I'm just going to show you, because I'm getting very tired. King and Spalding International was incorporated the year after the World Trade Center disaster. It links straight to an address that is used, Basingall is an address used with Slaughter and May. Within there you have William Charnley, Francis Charnley. He links to the Muscovy Company Limited, which has already been connected to the Iona prophecy. And we've already looked at how Muscovy ties in with that name, potentially, that is on linking with the Iranian leader. So it could be you have two people, the king, it may be just the king, deceiving the entire world and maybe having some sort of collaborative, deceptive attack against all of creation. I'm not saying it does, but now I'm looking back over this with the leader of Iran. Now, we have to consider, you had the printing of the banknotes for Iran back in 1965 in Switzerland. From this company, we have a link to the Satanic Temple United Kingdom via the Invicta partnership. Zeus Films Limited becomes very important. Zeus Films was incorporated in 2002, not long after the World Trade Center disaster. And within that company, Juan Ruiz Corbella connects to Medway Films LLP. Well, Medway Films has already featured in other areas of the research, including in the research of what's his name? Sacha Baron Cohen, who is a Palestinian, I believe, or links into Palestine somehow. Forgive me if you don't, Sacha. Also, they connect to Ingenious Film Partners 2 LLP, which means you now have a very quick link coming from the Muscovy company to King Charles. Okay, and the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales that links all areas of the fraud together. Within Zeus Films, you have David Morris Jordan. David Morris Jordan links to the Second Scots Atlantic Company, and it dissolved in March 2025 as the exposure continued. On its incorporation document, Hammonds becomes relevant. It links with Jeffrey Epstein, to the research of Jeffrey Epstein, Max Clifford. You can see this is all on the research, and this ties in with a lot of the companies here. You can see Waterloo's, Stephen Cox, C&M. This all links very quickly with the NHS, with the actual current stationary companies that are on a lot of the documents. So if you look at, I don't know if I've got an example here, at the bottom or the top, you see, it hasn't got it on these ones. You see stationary companies. Now, attached to this Office 2 document, Office 2 team document, you have the Solicitors Law Stationery Society, which becomes relevant. However, there's also a note here by Hammonds, Suddards, Solicitors. Remember, we just had care of Hammonds on that other document. It's linked straight into the fraud via Cityway, but importantly, it has this note. UK is being incorporated for acquisition purposes. Documentation to this end is currently being drafted, and completion of the acquisition is expected to take place in the next 2 days, or 2 weeks, sorry. Accordingly, we should be grateful if Newco could be incorporated with the requested sensitive name. Sensitive. Okay, suggesting they know something about this, how this is tying in with all of this. And we now have a link potentially in to a, I won't say scripturally related, well, it's scripturally related, but, you know, now I pray that, it's interesting, we're just reading this again, because I'd forgotten, obviously there's so much evidence, I forget about things, and it's job to keep track of it all in my mind, but this now, because of the link into all of these world leaders, and specifically the leader of Iran, and this, what we're finding, this connection to this person from historical grudges, is it that you have the leader of Iran and Charles deceiving the entire world over this and linking in with the Iona prophecy? I don't know. I'm just thinking about this. So all of these other leaders could be thinking that they are part of a one world plan to create a situation where they are always going to be financially secure, and they'll enslave the rest of humanity whilst they reign over everyone. But really the ultimate agenda is linking to the leader of Iran and to the leader of the fake royals. Okay, with Charles as a overall attack against all of humanity. And maybe they planned to do it with CERN, couldn't do it, and now there's some, I don't know, I'm just speculating looking at all of this evidence. We have to think about every option in this. Now, I think a lot of what we were seeing was deception surrounding nuclear weapons, and they're all collaboratively working on it. But what if there are some sort of missing nuclear weapons, and we have Charles and the leader of Iran in on this against everybody else, potentially? I'm not saying it is the case. I'm just saying, with what we've just seen, we have to think of that, don't we? So the rapid response team, maybe they're aware of this. They're exposing themselves. Maybe they're not aware of this. And maybe they think they're going to be getting a piece of the new enslavement of the world, so that they're going to be well off and all of their family and friends are going to be well off forever, and that it will create some sort of new system on Earth. Well, what if that's a deception against even them? What if they are also going to be victimized by all of this, by the king, fake king, and by others involved in this? Now, they also connect, this is important, from that second Atlantic company, we have a link now to Owen Film Partnership. That now links back in to the research of Exbourne Manor and into dates around a Toucan Connell company in Scotland, where the dates change, linking in with within 2 weeks of the death of Princess Diana again. As I have said here, coming in from the Satanic Temple, it's just showing that exact same company links in with the Satanic Temple as well, which then links into, you can see Turk and Connell on the next page down. And that's because Turk and Connell is in the address of Owen Film Partnership on the registered address. Now, David Morris, which is, where was he? Why have I put David Morris here? David Morris, did we see it up here? Oh, yeah. David Morris Jordan, interesting, the surname Jordan as well, coming in from Zeus Films. Now, Zeus, the name, links back to Greek mythology. Interesting. So that name, David Morris Jordan, connects to Dun and Bradstreet. Excuse me. Dun and Bradstreet Properties. Well, Dun and Bradstreet is the registration companies, the registration system in America. So what if you're all being deceived by two people that had a meeting in 2004 about all of this, okay? And they are also have links into the registration system, not only with Companies House, but also with the American version, which gives them the ability to funnel vast amounts of money through it to whatever agenda they may have. Here's Dun & Bradstreet's Properties Limited, incorporated the year after CERN discovered the World Trade Center. Now, we looked at this in previous research as One America Square on it, which makes connections to other areas of the fraud. You can see all of the previous names. Look at when it changed its name. According now, when I took these screenshots, it may have changed since, I can't remember, 1997. Okay, 10th of December. That's 2 months, less than 2 months after Princess Diana, the founder of the Church of Satan, died, and within 4 months of Princess Diana dying. Now you can see earlier, there's earlier changes, March 1997, leading up to, that's when it was actually called Dun & Bradstreet Software Services, which suggests it's going to be linking in with the registration system in America. A Dun & Bradstreet here, just to show you, the Dun & Bradstreet Holdings Inc. is an American company that provides commercial data analytics and insights for businesses, headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida. It's where Donald Trump lives in Florida or has a property. The company offers a wide range of products and services for the risk and financial analysis, operations and supply and sales of marketing professionals, as well as research and insights on global business issues. It serves customers in governments and industries such as communications, technology, strategic financial services, and retail, telecommunications, and manufacturers markets, often referred to as D&B. The company's database contains over 500 million business records. Key people: Bill Foley, chairman. Bill Foley has connections to Fidelity National Finance, Black Knight Financial Services, and vice chairman of Fidelity National Information Services. Black Knight. He is a managing general partner of Black Knight Football and Entertainment, which owns Premier League club AFC Bournemouth. So now we have a link to Bournemouth. AFC Bournemouth is where Anthony Roberts worked, the chairman of Exbourne Manor. A-League club, Auckland KFC as well. FC. data universal numbering abbreviation as DUNS, because it mentions somewhere in here. Where is it? Data universal. I'm going to have to stop now. I'm really tired. And we're going to have to carry on in the next couple of days. But I think this is becoming really important, this section here that we're looking at. So thanks very much for watching. I have no idea how many. We've got 59 people. Well done to you. I mean, some of you might not be in the UK, but well done to all of you that have stayed on. I've been streaming for 3 hours this time. I think it was about 6 hours earlier, and then so I've done a lot of this today. So thank you so much for watching. This is the most important evidence on the planet at the moment. I cannot emphasize it enough. You need to be getting out there if you're innocent in this, and you need to get behind me. You need to get behind the evidence, because otherwise we could be in serious trouble. This world could be in serious trouble. Even potentially you on the rapid response teams and your children and everyone else. Now, you may have been made promises of something. Okay, a lot of you may have been given these potential false positions of authority or, a place in a new world of control where you will become the kings or the leaders, you think, of the world. Well, all of the evidence tells me you're all going to be deceived over this, and that we've got a serious problem on our hands that I'm trying to resolve, and I need everybody to unite over this, but nobody else seems to be willing to expose it. And if you're not, then you're probably going to be in serious trouble. One way or another, you're going to be in serious trouble, let's face it. If you don't come and assist in it, and the world doesn't end, then you're all going to be arrested. It's as simple as that. All right, at some point. So, anyway, thank you very much for listening. Take care, and I'll hopefully do another live covering the World Martial Authority, linking in with the death of Daniel Morgan and the rapid response teams now. They've now implicated themselves in this even more. And we also need to do the research of the Chillenden murders and lots of other stuff as well. There's loads of stuff. Sweeney Todd. So thanks very much for watching. You can tell I'm tired, and we'll catch up soon. All the best.